Hey, let's talk all about kettlebells. Not kettlebell workouts or kettlebell exercises, because those are a zillion posts, both mine and everybody else's out there. I'm going to actually walk you through how to choose the correct kettlebell for you as far as size, shape, and type and weight. And then I really wanted to just explain why a single kettlebell, just one, is going to give you more training benefits and overall benefits than like a $1,500 set of dumbbells or anything else. Okay, so whether you're comparing it to a type of equipment or any singular piece of equipment, the single kettlebell is going to just blow everything out of the water. All right, and you know how I am with when I talk about it's all my favorites, so I don't know, maybe I'll say something like this about some other equipment, but we're talking kettlebells right now. So let's just go into a quick overview of the benefits of kettlebell training in general, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty. So overall, you're going to get strength, you're going to get conditioning, but this is a special type of conditioning. This type of conditioning that you could get with the kettlebell really helps with your endurance as well. Okay, you get grip strength. Your grip strength is so important. The way you could look at it is that the limit of your grip strength is pretty much going to equal the limit of your overall strength. That's how important grip strength is. So of course, the fact that you have to hold the kettlebell handle, and the fact that you could do a single kettlebell or a double, but a single kettlebell is going to give you all that cross body stabilization. So you're holding a weight in one hand and you're trying not to let it control you down in one direction or the other. Okay, that's going to give huge core benefits, right? So the other aspect though is depending on how heavy it is. So this one is fairly heavy, but here's what I mean. I'm not going to let that control me. I have to fire my core, right? So cross body stabilization in many ways if it's one-sided. But as I'm doing this and I'm using a weight that's challenging, I have to, by way of engaging. So another way to look at it is every kettlebell exercise is a core exercise, but by way of that, you are always engaging your glutes, and you do have to learn how to stack and align your posture from shoulder to ankles properly, because you cannot do a lot of repetitions of kettlebell with improper form without penalty. So it basically forces you into good form. All right, so that's the overall benefits. Yeah. Now, let's talk how to choose the kettlebell for you. If I could go back, I would start all over again with a completely different kettlebell. Everything I have here, okay, all the array of kettlebells I have are what's called standard or hard style kettlebells. The other style of kettlebells, which I wish I started with, are called competition or soft style. These words really don't mean that much. So we'll just choose. Everything I have, we'll call it standard, even though there's nothing standard about it. And then the competition ones, the soft style, we'll choose competition. That actually makes sense. The reason why it's called competition is because whereas all of these standard ones, you can see, are different actual sizes. They're different size, and not just the bell portion, but the handle portion. The competition ones are the ones where the handles are more rectangular on the top, and that part is always standardized, as well as the globe part, no matter what the weight is always the same size. That's huge. The different weights are simply indicated by color. So the reason why that's so important and why that's so huge is when you're learning the grip or the hold of the kettlebell, you just need to learn it once. And then you just need to worry about going up in strength with the weight, right? So that's what's so important, because you want to have the correct, grip at all times. So you don't have to worry about that. The form of the handling is just a one and done deal. And then the color is just an interesting aside, the pink I believe is always the lightest color at about 18.8 pounds, which I would change that to pink being the heaviest, the indicator of the heaviest kettlebell, whatever that weight is, I'm not sure. Because if you're gonna be so manly and strong that you could sling the heaviest kettlebell, you should still be able to look manly and strong slinging pink kettlebells and with Hello Kitty on it. It's my opinion. I think that'd be funny. But that's kind of one of the reasons why I have a lot of pink equipment. It really is. Okay, for the guys. Now, let's talk all about the standard kettlebells. All right, so as I pointed out, they're all different sizes, okay? This is why it's not good. But if you're gonna get the standard kettlebell, you have to try to test it out physically in person, because here's how you first choose the correctly made kettlebell, and that's with the handle. Okay, so here's the anatomy. So you have the kettlebell, or what I call the globe. You have the horns, okay, and you have the handle. Now the distance between the top of the bell and the top of the handle, the width, okay, of the horns, or the distance of the horns, this is what's important, because in order, and here's the window, okay, we call that the window. So here's how you would test it. You would slice or slide the web of your hand against the corner, okay, so that when you, sorry, other way around, okay, so that when you have that 45-degree angle across the palm, okay, that part should be comfortable. When you have that set, you would have no part of the bell or kettlebell handle resting against any part of the wrist bones, okay? It's just kind of flush against your forearm, okay? This is what you need to make sure it does. So if the kettlebell handle isn't made correctly, or isn't wide enough, okay? So for example, I have these baby ones, okay? Actually, this one is kind of okay, but the problem is when you're working with such light weights, it kind of doesn't matter. Like, you could tweak your wrist, and I mean, it's not good, but should you have bad form, it's not going to kill you. The problem is you then have to relearn it for the heavier weights. Anyway, but the problem with something like this is now the distance, okay, is not wide enough to comfortably give you a two-hand hold. See, I can't have my wrist like this for the passing, right? It's awkward. Anyway, so that's how you would choose the correctly made standard kettlebell, all right? As far as the weight, did I tell you about the weight yet? For women, it would be anywhere between 15 and 25 pounds as your main single weight. For men, it would be between 25 and 35 to 45 pounds. It really depends on where you are in your overall strength. And that will be that single weight, okay? That's the important one. Your main weight, your go-to kettlebell, is going to be what's going to be used for your very first exercise, that you learn, which will be the swing, right? So it'll be heavy enough to feel it, but light enough where you're not going to injure yourself. You can actually handle it. And then there's a lot of ways that you could compensate for it being either a little light or a little too heavy for other exercises by, adjusting your repetitions, time, maybe adding a second piece of equipment, that kind of stuff. Okay, so that would be how you indicate your single go-to main weight. All right, so I have my 25, and my 25 actually is one of my favorites. It was my first purchase, and I think I got it on Amazon. Let's see if I could find it. All right, so why is the single piece of kettlebell, besides some of the benefits I already said about the cross-body stabilization and the core work and the postural work and all of that? It's really the nature of the shape of this piece of equipment, right? Because we have I'm gonna use a lighter one so I can hold it up, right? Because you actually have this offset, right? Unevenly shaped, weighted piece of equipment. So unlike a dumbbell, which is fairly uniform, like anywhere you slice it in half, it will be the same weight. You could, if you slice this in half this way, it will not be the same weight, right? So first part is the amount and variation of the grips that you get. Okay, so let's go through a few. I'm sure I'll miss some, but there's the simple carry grip, or the farmer's carry grip. Okay, then there's the swing grip, right? Then you have two-handed grips, okay, such as holding it by the horn, holding it by the horn and the bell, okay? You could flip that upside down, so bottoms up, two-handed. This is often used for goblet squats, okay? Then you have the one-handed, bottoms up, okay? You have waiter's grip, waiter's hold, okay? Then you could take that handle towards your chest and wrap around the globe, okay? You could go underneath in the 50-50, all right? And then you have the ability by the width of the handle to pass, right? Okay, which is conducive to the swings and any other dynamic motion, as well as when you throw or release and catch, okay? Like so. Again, this is not really an exercise post. I'm just saying these are all the various ways that you could get use out of the way you grip and hold and handle. And then of course, there's things that you do when it's on the ground. You know, you could use it as your neutral grip push-up tool. Now, once you get into either a pair of kettlebells, so where you could take all the single arm exercises and turn it into a double kettlebell, upping the strength and conditioning challenge. But you could also even have two different weights, and make it an offset. So one hold here, for example. I don't know. I actually like this one a lot, right? So one racked and one farmer's carry, different weights to do a squat, for example, and then you just switch. So those are all the different ways. Okay, so I'm not sure if I mentioned the plastic. All right, I don't think I did. So the plastics, do not buy the plastics unless you have a reason to. I have a reason to, because like for example, this one came at 15 pounds, which is a good starter weight. If starter weight doesn't equal your main weight. But when you're just learning, you know, this was an okay size where a person that's just starting out and strength training overall, as well as kettlebell training, it's just a temporary way to get used to the way the kettlebell moves, and also because it was cheap. Okay, let me give you this piece of advice. Another reason why you don't want to get the plastic is if you drop it, it will crack. How do I know? Just trust me, I know. If you have come across weights, I don't care what it is, what kind of weight it is, priced at $1 or less a pound, this is not just a good price. It's not just a buy price. It's a stock up price. All right, so stock up on those weights. You could always use additional weights inside sandbags and whatnot. All right, so that's my takeaway for you, if nothing else. But hopefully you'll pick up a kettlebell and start slinging.